Good evening, everybody. Welcome to tonight's episode of LearnLiveUAE. I'm absolutely thrilled to welcome three amazing guests onto the show tonight. Tonight's show is titled Recharge the Right Way This Spring Break. And I don't think it matters where you are on this planet, the planet we call Earth. This term has been incredible. This year has been incredible. And I think thinking about our own well-being, the well-being of our colleagues, the students in our classrooms or our virtual classrooms, if you're not face-to-face, has never been more important. So I'm really thrilled to welcome our three guests onto the show tonight to discuss their strategies and share their knowledge and learning around recharging and well-being and how they take ownership of that. So I'm thrilled to welcome them onto the show this evening. You might notice that I'm flying solo tonight. Mark can't be with us. He is running inset in a school in the UK. That's, as we've said before, one of the benefits of having co-hosts is that if one of us can't make it for whatever reason, the show still goes on. But before we delve straight into the show, just a couple of shout outs, really. Obviously, we're about to start December tomorrow. I cannot believe where this year has gone. It's gone so fast. And those of you that are big on Action for Happiness is a fantastic Twitter page that you should follow, but each month they share a calendar, and December they are saying is the month for kindness, and more importantly they're framing it as Do Good December. So December's theme is all based on giving, so do things for others, because every act of kindness counts. And as you can see here on the screen, each day has a slightly different challenge, I guess you could call it, and you can find this on their website, www.actionforhappiness.org, or you can just search for them using the hashtag, which is Do Good December. And I think that's a really important message, especially at this time of year after the year that we all know about. A little shout out for us. The show next week then is our big spring break quiz. Please do tune in. This will be the last show of 2020 before we have a little break over the Christmas holidays. It's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. Grab your friends, grab your colleagues, and tune in for our big spring break quiz. It'll run the same time as the usual show. We've got prizes from Frog Education, from Seesaw. They're giving away 2 unlimited access memberships. We've got prizes from JTRS, a company out here based in the UAE that have done some fantastic work with schools across Abu Dhabi and Dubai. Prizes from National Online Safety, and one of I've got to give a big shout out here as well to Quizzes, one of many an educator's favourite tool for retrieval practice. So they're also giving away a prize. So really grateful to them. But that's not why we're here this evening. We're here this evening to talk about recharging and well-being. Welcome 3 amazing educators onto the show. Cas Germain, who can be found on Twitter at CasMindful. Octevia Torian returns to the show after an awesome presentation at the conference back in October, I think that was now. You can find her at Octevia T. And then, of course, Nina Jackson, who can be found fizzing away on social media at Music Mind. So without further ado, I am thrilled to welcome onto the show first Nina Jackson. So I'm going to invite her straight in. Nina, how are you?
Well, hello there. I am very well, Ollie, now that we are actually connecting on an evening. And can I just thank both you and Mark for the amazing sort of episodes. I mean, I'm going to call them seasons now, not series, of what you do for LearnLiveUAE. It is always a pleasure and a privilege to work with both of you, but even more so this evening, because the topic that we're all really thinking about right now is, am I exhausted? Is anybody else exhausted? Should I be saying I'm exhausted? And how am I really honestly going to help myself get through the next few weeks, but also be fit, well, and happy, ready to face a brand new year with gusto?
I think that's massively important, isn't it? Facing the new year with gusto and putting 2020 behind us. But I really like how you started out there of the acknowledgement of, can I actually say that? Like, is it okay not to be okay? I think that's a massively important point there. Although Mark can't be with us tonight, just a quick shout out to you, Nina, looking fabulous as ever. Thanks for tuning in, Mark. I hope you're well, buddy. So Nina, shall we dive straight into your presentation?
Yes, I think so. I mean, you know, I can talk for England, Wales, I mean, the whole world, to be perfectly honest with you. And, you know, the problem being often is that sometimes if I do have a presentation and I have slides, it's actually much better for me to stop myself from talking, actually. So I am going to try and be very succinct, ladies and gentlemen, but to the point. And what I'd like us to think about this evening is personal R&B. Now, before you start thinking this is a bit of rhythm and blues, even though I was doing a little bit of chair dancing on the introduction there, this is about us really embracing what does rest and balance mean for us. What does it feel like and what does it look like? And in true L'Oreal style, personal R&B for you, your rest and balance, because you're worth it. So looking at recharging and recharge the right way over spring break. Now, I'd like to offer you a challenge this evening. I mean, I adore to wear a natural smile. Okay, but sometimes don't we have a put on one as well, because we know that that's what people expect from us. So if you this evening have got a naturally brilliant, cracking smile, I want to share that photo on hashtag LearnLiveUAE. That would be brilliant. So it is a big hello there, lovely people, from me. And I'm going to ask you right now, how are you feeling? And this is really, really important. I want to know, how are you feeling? Are you feeling a little bit like Chewbacca? I mean, have you even got the energy to be like Chewbacca? Or are you wanting to just shut the door on everything and have peace and quiet and run away from the difficulties that you may be facing right now? Or you could even be like SpongeBob and having to manage so many things, not just your workload, but things at home with your family, and so many things going on. We just need so many arms, don't we? Arms and legs and eyes and heads. And wouldn't it be wonderful if we had 3 different types of heads? One that could sleep, one that could rest and really think about the world, and one that could be cognitively on fire all the time. But hey ho, we've got this one very, very special one. And having to look at this one brain and your heart at the same time can be a little bit tricky. But before we go on, there is a definite thank you, and thank you for right now, for all that you are and all that you do for your school communities, for your families, and hoping for yourselves as well. And please never, ever underestimate your ability to make somebody else's life absolutely fantastic. And I want us to focus on those 3 words: strong, brave, and wonderful. I think the people that I work with globally most definitely are amazing people. But how hard is it to continuously remain strong and actually to be brave, but even to embrace in those difficult times that, yeah, I am wonderful. And we just don't say that enough to ourselves. But I would like to remind you that you are, even when you're exhausted, even when you're just not feeling yourself, you will have your own magical ingredients which will be so impactful on other people. But I want your magical ingredients to remain as part of your brilliant a la carte menu that makes you a Michelin star individual. And we can only do this by thinking about, how can we find balance for ourselves through the purpose of our daily jobs, the purpose of why we're here, what our mission is, but also to build in peace as well at the same time. Now, when I work with children and young people, I wanted to share this with you because even though this evening is about you, the adults, the educators, I want you to just to be aware how children will also try and think about creating their own strategies to develop what I call mental wealth through a mind medicine prescription. Now, you know as well as I do, if you get a headache, 9 times out of 10, you don't necessarily need to go to the doctor or request a call. You probably have things in your medicine cabinet or something that you can get from the pharmacy without needing a prescription. So what you're doing is you're self-medicating. So you'll go for a paracetamol or an ibuprofen or an aspirin because you know that that will actually make you feel better. And when I was working with these children, what was great is they started to understand that actually there are so many things in life that when we do them for ourselves, we start to feel a bit better. But it's taking the responsibility of time to actually embrace that mind medicine. And I wanted you to just see really what it was like from a child's perspective. It's quite magical. You know, one child says about listening to music, and you know that the right sound waves make the right brain waves. You know, there's something else on another sheet there where a child says about punching a pillow or have a little bit of a cat nap. You know, so I want you to really think over this spring break about how you can build your prescription, but actually keep going back to it and saying, does that really, really work for me? Developing your mental wealth. So here are some really simple suggestions, particularly if on occasions you're feeling a bit stressed or knotted up. You know, that feeling is like it's pretty awful, isn't it? So some tools, some basic relaxation tools, whether or not you do practice mindfulness, just taking that quiet pause moment for yourself is having a mindful moment. You may love to do some walking and knowing about what correct breathing techniques are. For example, you know, if you breathe in and count for 3, then breathe out slowly for 4. We could spend a whole session on mindfulness, but there are even some amazing apps as well, like Calm and Headspace. And right now, I'm really quite liking using a gaming app, which is a really good relaxation technique for me, which is dots. And it's quite complicated, but it keeps me focused and it gives me time to breathe and have some really serious reflection time for myself. Hands-on things like stress busters, for example, like playing with blue tack, or, you know, a pipe cleaner and wrapping it around your finger. Or for me, it's always about the inevitable, the amazing slinky. Not that I'm a slinky individual and I move around the place like that, even though I am a ninja. I find this to be really, really, really relaxing because I'm focused on it. And of course I can do tricks and things, and you know, there are some with flashing lights, and or maybe even creating a sort of a sketch-a-doodle or some writing journals, talking and sharing things with people. I mean, earlier on I had a bit of a chat with Ollie. You know, we sort of checked in with each other, and immediately the burden of, yeah, I'm feeling a bit exhausted, because we shared that was better already, to know that you're just not a lone person that's dealing with that. Think about recording your thoughts, either through audio or maybe little video, 1 minute a day. Can you imagine that over the month, where we looked at the Action for Happiness calendar earlier? You know, you could get 30 or 31 minutes of you over a whole month, sharing and talking about your well-being. And also as well, do not forget to reflect on your success. That is absolutely crucial. We're not very good at it as humans. We're good at telling other people, but we're not so good sometimes at doing it for ourselves. So whether it's a gratitude journal or #3 good things, or just going, do you know what? I think I did quite a good job there. Oh, that's a boom shakala moment for me, and I take that. And think about what your mind medicine prescription may look like if you're somebody that likes to write things down. Now, for me, here's an example, okay? What will I try over this spring break for my mind medicine prescription? So, example, self-gratitude 3 times a day. And then maybe what's the verdict? Well, yeah, by taking that time, I feel really good about myself. I'm not necessarily going to parade it everywhere and say to everywhere, look at me, look at me. I may want to keep it privately, or I may want to share that strategy with someone else. So think about how you can develop your own mind medicine prescription. And just something for you to think about, talking about spring break. A couple of weeks ago on Twitter, I do these sketchadoodles, which start with amazing. And it's not that they're amazing, but it's the fact that there's a maze in there somewhere with a message. And I've been challenging people to think about 52 transition words. For you, it could be maybe 10, and starting it on something like 30th of December, but moving from December into January, taking that transition from this crazy year that we've had into a new year that hopefully will bring us hope and even more purpose than before. And what I've done is I haven't focused on a word every day. It could be across a number of days, but I know that I'm going to move from 2020 into 21 with a bank of words that are focused on one every day. You may want to do these with children in your school. You may want to do it with your family. But I certainly know that hashtag 52 days has gone a little bit crazy on Twitter. In 24 hours, there were over 15,000 interactions with this. So that's how popular it's been. Please, because you're worth it, I want you to be kind to yourself. And sometimes, you may want to, as part of your recharging your batteries, to think about checking in with other people, because that can make you feel really, really good as well. But knowing that difficulties, the protons and the electrons that we say the world is bound with, is not what is going to bind us together. In the future, you're going to have the most amazing, tragic, maybe difficult, but also stories that will celebrate humanity and how we are surviving and supporting in each other. So it's a big thank you to Mark and Ollie for inviting me on, and to you lovely people for tuning in. Please, please don't be alone. Don't suffer in silence. Do reach out if you need anything. I'm Nina Jackson at Music Mind. I hope I've kept it as succinct as possible. We'll see.
That was wonderfully succinct, Nina. Thank you so much. I love your mind medicine prescription. And what I really love about that is the fact that you by writing it down, you're committing to trying something and then identifying if it works for yourself. I know a couple of weeks back, I started running because I've been talking about it for ages. And it got to the point where it was like, I've just got to actually just do it. I can't keep saying I'm going to do it and not do it. And I held myself to account. So I wrote a chart. I wrote each day of the week. And after my first day, I wrote down how much I ran. And I kept doing that over the course of a month because it was the only thing that would enable me to hold myself to account for doing something new for my own, personal well-being. So I love that prescription. And I really like the fact that you've added in there, what's the verdict? Because that is brilliant.
Because I think sometimes what we forget is that if something doesn't work for us, either we try something else, or maybe after that, that's when we reach out to other people, like you would. I'm still not feeling very well, so I need to take myself to the doctor. So we're armed with so many great things. But, so on your verdict then, Ollie, okay, from the difficult words to, oh, am I really doing this, to the celebration word, what's your verdict on your prescription about the running?
It's been brilliant. I feel better. I feel clearer cognitively. I've lost a little bit of weight. I feel like I have more energy. Like I could write 10 things for the verdict that are all positive, but that's what's worked for me.
Brilliant.
And I've kept with it. And I think one of the important things with that is consistency as well. Is just keep having a go to find out if it works long term.
So you might now be able to prescribe it to somebody else and say, look, you know, it was a challenge in the beginning. I did actually put it into practice, but the end result, this is what it's like. So you can become a mind medicine doctor. Do you call yourself Dr. Ollie, MM?
You heard it here first, ladies and gents. It's official.
It's official, yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Nina.
Very welcome.
I'm mindful of time, so shall we bring our next guest in? And then by the time everyone has shared some of their strategies, we should have time at the end for us all to just have a massive conversation together, which I think will be awesome. So our next guest, ladies and gentlemen, is Cas Germain. I'm just going to bring her in now. Hi, Cas.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Ollie. Hi, Nina. Thanks for having me.
Hi.
Thanks for joining us. Before we sort of dive into some strategies from yourself, any reflections on Nina so far and her
Nina,
strategy?
I'm in awe, literally. I mean, I think what you said about the mind medicine and the prescription, from a fellow Welsh lady to another one, sending love anyway your way. Yaki da, good health. But, you know, on the spirit of self-care, I think what you said about, you know, writing your gratitudes down, and like you said, exactly reiterating what you said, Ollie, about the feeling of it. I think sometimes we're so good at setting intentions, but when you do write those things down, then you are holding yourself accountable. And to add to that, I like to put things on my fridge where I know it's like, I can see it there, and it's in a place of where I'm conscious of it and I can see it. So again, like in you, Ollie, and you said about you're running in the spirit of eating healthy, I'm like, before looking at my fridge, I'm like, no, I'm on my health kick now, Cas. Like, you know, put down, don't go for that chocolate bar, just stay mindful, or, you know, tell yourself that how important you are, how important it is to be active. So putting those post-it notes, you know, visibly where you can see them, I think is important as well.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there. I think we need nudges just as much as anybody else, I think, especially the self. That's another thing that I've sort of taken from both of you, seeing both of you share that we spend so often nudging other people, but we forget to nudge ourselves, you know, and that's probably the most important nudge of all.
Absolutely.
You know, you've got it. Is it Patrick O'Connor-Otley that says put your own oxygen mask on first?
It is that, yeah. And there's another one of self-love is not selfish. So the more you give to yourself, the more love and care you put into yourself, the better service you are to others. So it really is important to make sure that you're doing things like, you know, your physical exercise or drinking water as well. Like how many teachers, I speak to so many educators who say, I didn't have a drink of water today. And I'm like, you've been teaching and talking all day and you haven't had a drop of water. Simplest of things to make the biggest difference.
Yeah, it really does. Really does. Cas, should we dive straight into your presentation?
I'll share my screen, Ollie.
Continue the sharing.
I know. Okay, let me just try this. Bear with me. Here you go. Am I sharing my screen?
Yes.
Brilliant. So, hi everyone. I'm Cas, and I'm the Mindful Teacher UAE. I typically use Twitter, Instagram. That you can find on Twitter at Cas Mindful, but this is my Instagram page. I would appreciate a follow. So I am a personal and professional coach. I'm also a primary school teacher, and it's the first time for me being on LearnLiveUAE. So a bit about me and a bit about coaching and why we're kind of talking about this really. So with coaching, it's future goal orientated. We can do it in groups or one-to-one, and we look at things about your personal values, your boundaries, your routines, your relationships, and ultimately your self-care, which is what I'm going to be talking about now. And there's benefits of coaching. So, you know, the reason why we do this and the reason I'm such an advocate, particularly within the profession as educators, we need it so much. It increases flexibility, improves your performance, your health and personal relationships improve. And again, it's the development of leadership skills. If anyone's watching now, you can have that professional conversation, or you can actually have the courage to say, I want to go into leadership, or I'm not feeling great today. It creates those connections within the workspace in a really healthy way. And ultimately it creates that work-life balance, which is what Nina was referring to as well. So in the spirit of gratitude and coaching, I want you to right now have a think about what you're grateful for. So just have a think right now, what is it that you're grateful for? Is it that you've got a job? Is it that you've got a roof over your head? Is it that you are able to walk outside because the weather's nicer? And again, all that does, that puts your mindset into an instant shift of positive and gratitude. And they say, there's so many sayings that gratitude is an attitude. And when you practice gratefulness, even at any minute of the day, you say, what am I grateful for? Okay, I'm grateful for my family, or I'm grateful for having a job. It really puts you in a perspective of appreciation. And again, when you appreciate things, you acknowledge things of how you feel, you're in a place of awareness, and you can take action. And again, there's just studies done on gratitude as well, like it releases dopamine, it releases serotonin, which is the feel-good chemicals in the brain. And it can release instantly, like ground you and make you feel, again, a sense of perspective. So what are you grateful for? Feel free to let me know on Twitter or on Instagram. And then I thought I'd do something different. And this is typically what a coaching session would look like. And just to answer to yourself now, so we're going to reflect together. And I think this is really powerful. We can do it together. So I just want you to think about, you can come back to this and pause it later on, but what 3 things that have happened to you and how do they make you feel? And it's really important that you acknowledge the feeling. So it can be, you know, I feel during this pandemic, I feel absolutely stressed. And by feeling stressed, I can now journal, for example. And then what are 3 low points that have happened to you this year, and how did you handle them? You know, how has teaching in the pandemic served you? What have you done differently? How do you feel about it? Is it something that you're happy with, or is it something that you think, actually, I need to make sure that I'm doing X, Y, and Z, and to be kinder to myself? And another one, what's the biggest lesson you've learned this year? You know, what have you learned about yourself? I think so many of us have really thought about maybe our lives, our careers, our relationships, where we're going. We've really looked inwards and learned, you know, massive things about ourselves. I know for me, I realized being an expat, living alone, I am someone who's resilient. I'm strong. I've got strength, the leadership skills. I'm thinking, okay, where does this need to take me? And that's why I got into coaching, because I really reflected and thought, what's the biggest lesson I've learned about myself? And to look inwards. And then again, what did you do this year that you were proud of? You know, did you go, like Ollie was saying, he went for a run earlier, you know, have you run extra miles? And it could be anything big or small, but what have you done this year that you're proud of? Is it that you're showing up for work every single day, even though you know maybe, and even inside you're struggling some days, but you're still there delivering lessons day in, day out, and putting a smile on your face, even though inside you may not be feeling that great? I know I've been there some days where I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I can't do this, and I'm still there teaching my math and what have you. There's just things that you're really proud of. And again, it puts you in a perspective of gratitude. It puts you in a place of thinking, you know what, I am actually doing this. And it makes you human as well, to think, feeling what you feel and not shying away from your feelings. And then another thing is, what are your intentions and goals for next term? So again, you can do this in a professional way. It can be done in a personal way about yourself. It can even be done in a team. If you're a team leader, you can also talk about your reflection that way. And it's a way in, again, to build connection, because right now we are in this pandemic. We don't know when it's going to end, but it can be a tool for you to do in a group session. If you're a middle leader, particularly in your group meetings, where you're like, guys, let's just have a chat. This is a guided way to talk about how you feel as a team, because as humans, we're born to have connection and create meaning. And this is one way in where you can actually say, oh, actually, I felt like that as well. Or I'm actually proud that I, you know, managed to show up for work every day with a smile on my face and know that, oh, that child's done well. Or even for yourself, I'm proud I went to the gym, even though I was shattered at the end of the day, I still managed to go to the gym and do that workout. And so it's just things like that that serve you ultimately, because you know what's right for you. And I love this quote from Brene Brown on my slide. It says, sometimes the bravest and most important thing you can do is just show up. So again, it's just acknowledging yourself and saying exactly what Nina said. I'm here. I'm ready for this. I'm a teacher. Why did I become, you know, why am I in this profession? I've done it to make a difference to the children. And believe me, we really, really are as teachers. And I just want to give you a big hug right now and say thank you and well done, because I know myself, I'm on the floor every day teaching the children, and it's not been easy, you know, especially with us expats. If you're an expat and you live abroad and you haven't seen family for a while, it'll be a really difficult time. And the fact that you're still showing up, I know it's not easy, but I just want to say as well, thank you. And we really are making a difference to the lives of the children and our community. So why self-care? And again, I just kind of reiterated to that. I'm not going to give you a death by PowerPoint, but it's just about creating those meaningful relationships and connections, because as humans, we thrive on meaning and connection. And especially as expats, we live alone. So often it can be a lonely time for a lot of people. So by checking in with a friend or a colleague and saying, hey, just checking in, how's it going? Or how are you doing? It can be a way for a friend to feel appreciated and think, oh, thanks a lot. Like, you're really mindful of me. Thanks for checking in and caring about me. And, you know, we are multitasking more than ever, teachers. We're on Zoom, we're doing everything a million different ways, but really honing in, like what Nina just said, on taking time for yourself and what is important to you. And I'm going to go over the 4 areas of self-care. And I'm sure you know this anyway, but again, when we talk about it, it just comes into your consciousness and then you'll be able to take action. So again, self-care means giving yourself permission to pause. And sometimes, do we need a rest? I know sometimes I feel, even myself, I'm just so good at being busy. I'm not always good at actually stopping. And that's something I really say to like people I coach, is that we're human beings, not human doings. So it's really important to be and stay in a sense of calmness. And so there's things, again, take what you need from this, but, you know, do you need time alone? Do you need nature to go out for a walk? Do you need to set healthy boundaries with people? And that means with yourself professionally, to say, do you know what? I'm not going to look at the laptop today. I'm literally going to switch off my social media and just be with myself or have time for me. And you'll notice a difference in how you feel when you're not having to answer emails and answer parent calls and what have you. It's about really being yourself, being a human being, not a human doing. And there's some things that, like, feel free to come back to this and have a look on, but really reflecting on what you need at any given time, particularly when we're in the break. And then self-care, again, a group session would be, how am I feeling right now? You know, how are you feeling? And you feel free to screenshot this slide and look back on it later on. And where do you need to show self-care? And this is not just for spring break, everyone. This can be at this moment in time right now. You know, do you need more rest? Do you need more exercise? Do you need more sleep? And it's about, again, writing it down, what Nina said, making it visible on your fridge or what have you, so you are accountable and you're showing up for yourself every single day, because this is a journey that we're all on in this situation together. And the more kinder we are to ourselves, the better we are to serve others. And again, it can be something simple to show kindness to yourself, is cleaning, or, you know, setting an evening routine. Some of us are really good at morning routines, then our evening routines kind of go out the window. But is it about you thinking, actually, in this half-term break, or even of this weekend, do I need to actually have an evening routine where I just need to kind of journal, or I could do some Pilates, or whatever serves you and makes you you? Is it calling a family member, spending some time to speak to a loved one? And again, studies show when you speak to someone you love and care about, that again releases happy hormones, and you're in a better place where you think, oh, actually, it was really nice to speak to that person. And that can instantly make you feel good as well. And then again, exactly what Nina just said about, once you've set that intention, how will you like to feel when it's done? Often I know myself, it's a long day and you're working, you're thinking, oh, can I be bothered to go to the gym? I often have that conversation with myself, and I think, how will I feel when it's done? I'm future goal orientated, I'm future goal setting. And then it's like, oh, actually, I'd feel good. And it's just about showing up, you know? So there are a couple of things there. Again, you can check in as well. Screenshot this if you need to, an instant way to feel good. How am I feeling right now? You're acknowledging yourself. Okay, I don't feel great. What do I need? The minute you say to yourself, I'm thirsty, I need water, let me get a drink. It's as simple as that. The more you talk to yourself, check in with yourself, the more likely you are to take action and show up for yourself. And then, where do I need to take time for me? What kind of words do I need to keep telling myself right now? And again, that's where affirmations come in. So it's like, I'm trying my best, or it doesn't need to be perfect to be right. And I think sometimes as educators, we are so harsh on ourselves. We're like, I didn't do that lesson, or I didn't do this. We always check in what we didn't do. And I think now is the time to really flip and switch that and say, what actually went well today? And again, if you're a leader watching this, that can be something that you could do with your in a team meeting. Say, what went well for you today? So just change that perspective, because sometimes at a long day, we're in a meeting, we're thinking, oh, it can be done in a school setting, or it can be done with myself at home and thinking, what do I need to tell myself today? I tried my best, and you know what? That was enough. So thank you so much. I know this is the end. If you're watching this as a leader and you'd like more information about this, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to do teams, one-to-one with children. We really need to show up for ourselves as educators, and it'd be a pleasure to help you with that journey. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Cas. Before I ask you a quick question, I'll just give a quick shout out to one of our viewers, Lua. She's responded with, she's grateful for her family, her health, her friends, and the opportunities to better herself. And I think that sums it up really, really nicely. So shout out to you, Lua, she works in a school in Abu Dhabi, and she's part of EdTech UAE. So yeah, we're crossing boundaries there between professional learning networks, which is great. My question to all of you, And if it's all right, I'm going to bring Octevia in for this one as well, because I'd love to hear everybody's perspective on this. How important is routine? Octevia, welcome to the show, first of all. How important is routine?
I think very, if I may start. So I think it's so important because as humans, I think we're creatures of habit. So the more habits we create, the more positive we show up in our world. So I think when you set a routine for yourself, and it's about kindness, it's not overstretching yourself, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, but things then become easier because you're used to having things in place. And that can be as simple as having, your work uniform set out, the clothes you're going to wear the next day before you sleep, or it can be having a packed lunch. So then you're taking charge of your life, and then you're able to be more efficient. So when things come up, I mean, as a teacher, we like to be organized. You're in a better place then to handle those things that throw up, as when you're just kind of rushing in the morning and you're just, having to make your lunch and deciding what to wear. I think it can be really, for me anyway, it just sets you off the day in the wrong way. So I think it's important to show that self-care and do what works for you. So I know personally for me, having that routine of get up, shower, my work uniform's ready, my lunch is packed, grab and go, I'm in a better space for the day, rather than panicking on things that I actually can control. And that's just a small way of having a routine in the morning, for example.
Yeah, spot on. And routines are what give us personal and professional purpose, to the point where when there are routines, then we have expectations to actually meet the plan of the routine. Because when there are things like systems in place, that, I need to do that at a certain time, or this is what I need to do X, Y, and Z to get to this point. And when you've done it, immediately there's the gratification and the celebration because you've actually done something. It's almost like you can go from chaos to constructivism with routines. And especially in schools, when we know, if you come to sort of even lunchtime and you've done group registration, you've been to an assembly, you've delivered so many lessons, even when you get to that point, it's like, okay, I've done all that. Yeah, that's out of the way. But also, I did really good. And meeting those goals within routines, actually, they really help with serotonin and dopamine. They're almost like systems of self-care which routines are. And I'll just stop at that point because talk on that.
Octevia, anything to add to that?
No, actually, it's part of my presentation. So no, but I do believe routines are important. I will say I'm the one that goes off a little bit, but I try to stay in a certain routine each day. So we'll talk about that in my presentation.
Okay, fantastic. Should we just dive straight in? I have another question.
I'm ready.
I don't want it to be a part of your presentation.
Well, go ahead. You can ask.
No, you go first, and then because I reckon it's going to come up in your presentation. Okay.
So thank you, ladies. You did a wonderful job. I am also a certified coach and educator, and I've been working a life coach for like 7 years. And so I agree with Cas that it is definitely needed in the schools and is definitely needed for educators and students. To prepare for your winter break, I would like to discuss self-love. I do not have an actual presentation versus it's more of a listening. And if you have your notebook and ink pen or pencil with you, you can take some quick notes. So first of all, and I do present this workshop as well to several people. I've done it all over the globe. What is self-love? And so while you all are on here, I would love some engagement. And so what is self-love to you? Can someone answer? Mark, you go. Ollie, you go first because you're a guy.
All right. Whoa.
Go. What is self-love to you?
I think it just means being consciously aware of yourself. And making sure that, and I'm terrible at this, you pause and actually think, well, am I looking after myself? Is this benefiting me? Quite often we just dive into next thing on the to-do list, go. And don't take that time to go switch off.
And you're correct. Anyone else would like to add? Yes, it's Cas.
I think it is a term like showing up for yourself. So I think it's like showing up for yourself every day and doing one thing that serves you every single day. And for me, that's messaging my mum. I know it sounds really cheesy, but I have to show self-love by connecting with my family. And that I feel fulfilled from doing that. So it's just doing one thing a day that serves my soul.
Yes. So would you like to go?
I was going to say that,
Nina?
yeah, if you don't mind, that self-love used to be really difficult for me because obviously, you know, I'm a woman of a certain size, shall we say, and I always found that really, really hard. But then I suddenly realized that the breaking moment was, I am who I am. If I don't accept me for who and what I am, then I'm not going to really look after myself. I'm going to punish myself, and there will never be self-love. So I've got to learn to love my own company, be grateful for who and what I am, and actually, whether it's maturity or I'm not really sure, but I've learned to sort of give myself a little bit of a wraparound support blanket to think that I can be okay on my own, as well as having other people.
That is so beautiful. Thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you.
And you all are correct. Yeah. So self-love is regard for one's well-being and happiness. And it's all about you. It's what makes you happy, even through education and the things that we're experiencing at work. What can we do to make ourselves happy? It is your self-love, whether you're happy virtually or you're happy at school or you're happy out of school, whatever it takes. How are you being accountable for your own well-being and for your happiness? So what we're going to do, let me go back. So for me, what objects, I would like to ask you, do you have objects at home that you can use for self-love? So I will start first. So for me, when I'm actually relaxing, one thing which I'm doing right now is I love to burn candles. So burning candles is a way, and it has to be a certain fragrance at a certain time. So that's a routine that I have. I'm no longer in the classroom, but when I was in the classroom and I was doing virtual teaching, I actually went to Bath and Body Works and found a candle that I would only burn when I was teaching. So while I was online and I was, doing my lessons, I burned a certain candle. And once the class was over, I went to my nighttime candle. So for me, candles are something that I use. Yes, and it was a sparkle one with like glitter and donuts or something on it. So it was a teacher one, kind of, but it was something that was my routine. So I also play music. As educators, I played music in the classroom. I usually play jazz, but I've also played music while I was teaching virtually. So what are some examples that you can give that you can connect to for self-love? It could be within the classroom or on your personal time. Would anyone like to share? Yes.
I'll come in there, Octavia, and just say to you about how important that you mentioned about the burning of the candle and the aroma. And there is so much research around, they call it aromatherapy with certain oils, but actually the sensuous side of aromas to help with well-being. Now, for me, rose and geranium is a definite yes. Okay.
Write this down, everyone.
And, we know that particularly for ladies, that rose and geranium is a particularly really sensuous smell for well-being, as well as I've got to have amazing slippers and a cushy blanket. It's Welsh for more than a cuddle blanket, but they are things.
Yes.
For me, I'd say thank you, Nina. I love the cwtch. I've missed the saying cwtch, being from Wales. They say most people hug, but Welsh people give a cwtch. So
oh, yeah.
Thank you. And just to reiterate, like for you saying, like I journal as well. Like journal for me is really important. And at the start of the day, I have to say it's an effort. It's a conscious effort because sometimes I prefer a lie-in to journaling. But I do journal. And exactly, I may lean over. You said about the Bath and Body candle. I think most
yes. Yes, ma'am.
So yeah, I candle coming from work, just I straight away put a candle on. It instantly puts me in night mode. And I've got a tree away from home. I bought a tree this weekend, and I was just like, you know, I'm putting a tree up. So that's something that makes my environment happy. And I put the lights on, which makes me smile.
Yes. Thank you for sharing. Ollie, would you like to share? Well, I'll just keep going for time's sake.
You go, yeah.
So I'm going to give, so usually during my workshop, I will play bingo. So I have actually a self-care card, and we would play bingo. And the way I played the bingo was to mark off anything that you've already accomplished. So if you accomplished it, mark it off. So, but today, just for time, I'm going to actually give some strategies for those who are listening, of how you can say, hey, T, I don't know, what to do. So I'm going to give a couple of things that you can do. I'm going to go with BINGO, and I'm just going to give 5 ways that you can actually practice self-care. Please go back and watch the replay if I move too fast. First, it can be master a new skill. So for me, during this time, I said I want to learn a new language. So master a new skill, cooking class, whatever you would like to do, that is something for self-love. Master a new skill. It's never too late. The next one, this is really, really a good one. I'm going through this right now. It's let negative people go. If someone is not bringing that positive energy into your life, I'm going to be transparent, even if it's in your school, let it go. Once you get home or once you log off, burn that candle and let it go. Yes, just let it go. So let negative people go. This is stand at the edge of your comfort zone. So if you are facing a fear, but it's a good fear, what's holding you back from achieving that goal? So step out on the next level and try to reach your goal. So if you want to start that business, you want to take that class, you want to do something for your family, but you are afraid, what's holding you back? And once you think about what's holding you back, then step over that fear and try to make it happen. The N is do something creative often. So do something creative for you, for your family. I know during this time, we all have to get creative when we're in quarantine. And even now, sometimes we still have to get creative when we're social distancing. So find something creative to do to find that self-love. And remember, this is by yourself. Try to do this alone and not with anyone else. Try to find 30 minutes a day or something to do this for yourself. And as Cas mentioned earlier, positive affirmations, affirm yourself often. I actually have an app. It's the I Am app. I actually paid for the subscription, and I read my affirmations, and the ones that I like, I post on social media. You never realize how much you're impacting other people as well. So as a coach, I do post my affirmations on social media, but affirm yourself. Realize that you are a great person. Realize that you are doing the very best that you can at this moment, and you can't move past it. Know that people love you. There are educators who love you. There are educators who feel the same way that you feel. There are educators who will listen to what you're going through. So just know that you are special, you are loved, and you are appreciated. Never forget that. There are plenty more, but I'm going to stop right there. If you would like to get the bingo, please contact Ollie, and I can email him the bingo slide, and you can have all of them.
That'd be awesome.
The last thing I'm going to discuss, as Cas was talking about, is journaling. Journaling is journaling and vision boards. I used to do vision boards, but I stopped doing vision boards. For here to be in the UAE, I really didn't find many magazines that were free, so I stopped, doing vision boards, but I did pick up journaling, and I have so many journals. I'm not selling a journal, but I did find this journal. It's called Your Dream Life Starts Here. Let me see if you can see it. Your Dream Life Starts Here. It's a book and a journal. And part of my routine is I have to journal. I have to write it down, and and it's manifesting. Just remember, when you are journaling, when you are doing that self-love while you are burning that candle, letting those negative people go, just know that you are manifesting your dreams. You are manifesting whatever you desire, whether it's that nice vacation or you want to have a certain amount of money in your bank account. You are manifesting it. So, but it all starts within you. It all starts within loving yourself and being able to give to yourself and love yourself, because no one can love you better than you can. And for that, I am finished. If you would like more information on my self-love workshop, please let Mr. Ali know, and I will give you more information. You are loved. Have a great winter break, everyone.
Thanks, Octevia. I just want to bring in a quick comment from a long-time supporter of the show, Mark Ryan. He says magazines are done.
Nice.
I kind of think
Digital. Digital, you gotta go digital.
Yeah, could you not make a digital vision board using?
You can.
You can.
There's
There's
app or something like that.
There's apps like vision board apps that you can do, that you can do it digitally, and then you can save it as a screenshot on your phone, so you know they're achievable. And it even might be worth having like 4, so I know I've got a personal one, a physical one, an emotional one, a career one, so they're just again in your space every day when you check your phone.
Yeah. I love that bingo, especially that I noticed that everyone, when you said let negative people go, everyone's like, yep, we need to do that. Definitely need to do that.
Yes. And there are things actually on the bingo chart that I have done this workshop several times. I'm like, okay, I've done this already. But in that moment, even now, I'm thinking, okay, I'll let negative people go. But when I go back over it, there is some negativity that I have to let go. As of right now, just presenting tonight, I'm actually speaking to myself. So I thank you for allowing this open space, because it actually has helped me as well.
No, you're more than welcome. Something that I've picked up on from all three of you is it's about changing habits quite often, isn't it? So any top tips on kind of how to change your internal narrative? Because I think that's a really important part of all of this.
I think, Ollie, it's just starting small, because I think sometimes people set so many goals for themselves, like I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to lose weight, I'm going to diet, and I think that is, you're destined for failure in a way, and I hate to use that word, but because you overachieve. So I think it's just having a really small goal. So if it is to begin eating healthy or going for a run, start running 10K, it's then maybe going for a walk, and then continuously walking, and then having a little jog, and then then you might get into a stride. So it's with the intention of having a 10K. So I think sometimes we're like, I'm gonna go run for 10K, I'll go out tomorrow, start running 10K, you do it, and you're like, I've already done 7, I can't do this. So and then you just quit. And I think that's not the way. And productivity, studies on productivity and setting those habits is by having small chunks, but again, being consistent daily, and then they will lead to bigger mountains, if you like, that you find.
I love that. It's compartmentalizing it so that you succeed. Any other advice, Nina, Octevia? I think that's a great bit of advice there, Cass. Thanks.
Yeah, for me, I've had to literally over the years change my own habits to the point where as a human being, we get up, we get washed, we get dressed, we need food to gain energy, and we need water for hydration. Right? We tend to think most of the time about being physically well so that we can operate, right? But actually now, more than anything, we have to take responsibility for the emotional side as well. That tends to sort of like, it's not the a la carte, but it's like, if I'm physically okay, then I'm going to be mentally okay. No, not necessarily. And I think it's time to bring both of them together and actually being responsible to look after your emotional health as well.
And I think as well, to add to what you were saying, so I think there's such a thing as well of people like negative vibes. Like I know what you said about negative people, and obviously that's important. And I think some people are so afraid to speak about how they feel in case of being referred to as negative, like, oh, don't want to be a Debbie Downer. I know we're going through a bad time, so I don't want to be telling you how I feel. But I think we owe it to ourselves to, to set that healthy boundary. So if a friend is coming to you saying, you know what, I'm having a really hard time right now, I'm struggling, you give them that space, but it's not a reflection of you, like, oh, they're draining me. At the same time, having that healthy boundary to say, like, you know what, I'm feeling the same as well. And, you know, maybe I'm not the best person to speak to right now because I'm not feeling great myself. So it's managing your expectations and others as well. But it was also having the safe space to feel that, you know, you have a safe person to speak to and say, I'm having a really tough day right now, is to just speaking up and being loved, I guess.
And I also wanted to say, as well as for Cas, Nina, I'm not sure if you're a coach as well, but if as a life coach, and you are, so as we all are life coaches, you know, we being in the school system, that has been one of my main topics, is that we don't have support in the school system, and we can't talk about it, or we feel like we should keep it quiet, or there's, you know, somebody talking to somebody else, and come to find out we're all feeling the same way.
100%.
So you have three, so everyone's watching, you have 3 life coaches who are certified, plus we're educators, and that's what we do. We can connect to you, we can help you. Sometimes you want someone to talk to, but you don't know who to confide in. That's what we're here for. We can connect because we are educators as well, but also that we are certified coaches where we can help you, guide you, and be your accountability partner to help and guide you through the school year as well. So please do not keep quiet. If you need to talk to someone, we are definitely here for you.
And I want to add as well, it's a confidential space, so it's not something that, you know, you say that we're going to pass on. We have, you know, by code of ethics, you can't do that. And I think as well, I want to add to what you were saying there, Octavia, is that if you're an expat and you're new to Dubai, or new to, you know, to teach internationally, and you're new, it's hard moving abroad in the first place, leaving back family, friends behind. The fact that you're teaching in a pandemic, and you might be, because I even know when I moved to Dubai, you know, when I first came, I was struggling with the system. I didn't want to feel judged because I didn't want to feel incompetent, that I didn't know what I was doing. Sometimes I was thinking, oh my God, it's too much. But again, had to show face because it was the first term. I think it's so important to really reach out and just say, I'm not having a great time. And that doesn't mean you're a bad educator. That doesn't mean that you're an awful teacher. You're a human teacher. It's very, very normal to think, you know what, I'm just struggling right now. And that's absolutely fine. And we can provide that space and tools where to support you be at your best, or to just have a space to talk.
Yes.
That's a lovely point to kind of draw it all together, I feel. I just want to raise a couple of comments that we've had in. Mark Ryan said he's grateful to all 3 of you. Truly positive. Big shout out then to Mark. But he's also querying me, what's your running goal, Ollie? Well, my running goal was 100 kilometers a month, Mark. And I've done this month I've done 111. And my running goal is 100 a month every month for a year. So that's my goal. It's out there, accountable. I'm 1 month in and I've done it. So there we go. That's my running goal.
Congrats.
Thanks.
Make sure you remember, when you actually reach a goal, we didn't talk about this, but when you reach your goal, you should always celebrate yourself. So make sure, because you achieve your goal, you should have some reason to celebrate. I don't care what it is, but just celebrate because you went over and beyond your goal. Congratulations to you.
Thank you so much. I know Mark's a massive advocate of running, although he's chipped in with it's a great way to get away from negative people, physically and mentally. I know that it's one of his anchors. I know that he also does it every day. It works for him. His running style and mine are slightly different. He's pretty much professional athlete, and I'm like plodding along, but I'm good with that. I'm quite happy with that, and it works for both of us. So he's saying well done to me, but I'll say well done to you as well. Well done to you as well, Mr. Ryan. You're smashing it. So thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. It's been hugely positive listening to all 3 of you discuss different strategies and the importance of focusing on yourself. If you are an educator out there, I urge you, even if you're not an educator and you watch this, I urge you to get in touch with Nina, Cas and Octevia for a safe space to chat and just seek support and advice from these 3 awesome people. Thank you so much for all coming on the show, ladies.
Thank you.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Mindful
this was fun. Thank you. It helped me
on there. So thank you so much. It's been brilliant. If you do want to get in touch with any of them, you can either reach out to me or Nina is at Music Mind on Twitter. Octevia is at Octevia T, and Cas is at Cas Mindful. So please do reach out to all of them at the same time, because they're all brilliant. Thank you so much, everybody.
That was
And
fun,
that
ladies.
brings
Thank
our
you,
show
Lee.
to a close. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. See you next week for the big quiz.
Uh-oh. Good night.